You know that my natural instincts are charitable.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry. You're listening to Two Mikes on the warm-up. The Lions have already been shackled in New Zealand, but it's just the beginning of a big weekend of sport right here on TalkSport. Coming up tonight is the Champions League final, and it's live right here. We'll be finding out if Juventus can stop Real Madrid winning it back-to-back. And is Ronaldo really the only true football superstar? Plus, I'll be asking Porky why he got another puncture in his fastback Mercedes, and apparently he's had a bit of luck at the bookies as well. 08717 223344. Also coming up on the show, we'll have the 1 minute moan, and we'll keep you updated on all the tennis from Roland Garros with Lisa O'Sullivan. Andy Murray is coming up a little bit later on. You're listening to the Two Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on TalkSport. This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mikes. It is the warm-up, and it's time to say a very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mike, and I hope that my day today is as successful as my day was yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
I had a very successful day.
You had a successful day, did you?
First of all, I thrashed you in the quiz.
Well, hang on, excuse me. First of all, you don't thrash me in the quiz, right?
Yes.
The quizmaster set the questions.
Right.
You normally get 3 out of 10. Yesterday, you got 7 out of 10.
7.5.
7.
Mm-hmm.
And you were denied the final question, certainly, because you didn't seem to have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a poll that was put out, I'll have you know, last night on Twitter, in which people were asked to vote on whether they thought that you were cheating.
Disgraceful.
There were 2 choices in the vote, right?
Disgraceful. Talk about leading people on by the nose, to try and destroy my moment of glory.
No, of course.
Absolutely outrageous.
There were 2 options, right? Here was the question. Watch the Porky quiz, because you can go to Facebook Live and watch it there, and vote now. Mm-hmm. Is Mike Parry cheating, right? Yeah. The one response was, of course he's cheating. Mm-hmm. Or the second response was, no, he did his research, right?
Yes.
Now, more than 1,500 people have voted in this poll, so it's quite a sizable number. I mean, the old election pollsters don't get samples this big.
Right.
And guess what the result of the poll is?
I've seen it.
69% of people said, yes, of course he's cheating.
You say, it's outrageous.
69%.
Yeah. What's this? What's the crime called when somebody actually tempts you into the crime?
Entrapment.
Entrapment.
Yeah.
That was an entrapment poll.
How was it an entrapment poll?
Because you put it out and you invited people to say, was he cheating or did he get it right?
account put it out.
Well,
Two Mikes account put it out.
Really? Yeah. And you have no influence over that.
I don't have any
bring
influence
up
over
people
that.
who run these things and say, by the way, make sure we fix Porky up on this, stitch him up.
It was a natural progression.
It was
a natural progression from the actual quiz itself, because people were aghast at the fact that, one, you seem to know these answers without even worrying about thinking aloud.
That's because I've done my research and I've watched the Champions League finals assiduously over the last 25 years.
The only research you did was to make sure that you saw the questions.
Rubbish. How could I have seen the questions?
Well, maybe we should ask you some of the questions again.
How could I have seen the question? Don't be ridiculous. We've done the quiz and it's over.
There are many ways that you've cheated in your past. Various exams that you've taken. You've bribed people to help you out with stuff.
No, that's just an incentive to help.
You're very resourceful. I mean, I would imagine there are any number of ways you could have got your hands on the quiz.
Well, I think we should move on, because I did have another bit of luck yesterday, although you could say it was skill.
Oh, yeah.
Enable. That was written
Enable.
Enable.
Yeah.
Enable.
Well, some people call you an enabler.
An enabler, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Romped home in the Oaks.
You've helped a lot of people into the world of alcoholism over your many years. I mean, how many of your old friends have keeled over and passed away as a result of alcohol poisoning, thanks to knowing you for so long?
Quite a few of them, but they should have been able to moderate themselves like I do. If they'd have followed my mantra in life, bladdo in modo, bladderation in moderation, there wouldn't be a problem.
That's very possible.
So there I am, down in Stockbroker Belt country yesterday, having lunch at a country pub, not too far from Epsom Downs, but it wasn't packed,
Was it a fish
shows.
And chips special?
It was.
Fish and chips, because it was Fish and Chips National Day.
It was National
How
Fish
about that
and
guy
Chip
we spoke to on the show yesterday, by the way?
Yeah.
The only person I've ever come across who talks more than you.
He wouldn't shut up, would he?
I know,
no,
incredible.
No, and he run the fish...
it was the Frozen Fish Association
or something like that, yeah. But anyway, so there I was, weighing it up on a big screen, and I thought, I know this is going to go. So 50 quid on Enable, 6 to 1, £300, thank you very much indeed.
Please gamble responsibly.
Please gamble responsibly, and that makes for a very interesting weekend.
So you won how much then?
£300.
£300, excellent. So what are you going to do with that?
I'm going to give it to the Main Chance charity.
Are you?
It's the horse charity run by my friend Jenny Seagrove.
What do you mean you're going to give it to them?
Well, I will give it to them.
Well, have you collected it yet?
Well, no, because it's on an electronic device account.
Well, then it will have already been put into your account.
No, it won't.
The derby was yesterday.
What? Yes, it was. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not the Oaks.
The Oaks was yesterday. No. I'm sorting it all out. Don't worry.
No. Excuse me. Don't worry about sorting it all out.
Yeah.
Once you win something from a bookie
Yes.
and you've made a bet on a card,
Yes.
electronically it then gets put onto that card.
Well, I will sort it out. Don't worry.
Well, why haven't you passed the money on already?
Because I've been too busy. And
Too busy?
Yeah, too busy.
I smell of rats.
Yeah, no. Listen, I am a great patron of the charity, and they know that I will not.
I bet you felt a bit stupid having tweeted out that if you won, you were going to give it to the charity. Then now you've won, and now you've got to give the money away.
Why would you say that? You know that my natural instincts are charitable.
Yeah, I know they are,
that's
but you must not have thought you were going to win.
Anyway, listen, the £300 would have been very handy, actually, but it is going to main chance to pay for my new tyre, which happened on Friday.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, how on earth have you managed to get yet another puncture?
I don't know.
See, I've told you many times, a lot of people on Twitter have advised you to listen to my opinion here, that you've got the wrong kind of tyres for driving around in the centre of London.
I cannot believe it. Now, the last time I saw you was about 4:30 a.m.
Yes,
on
Friday, Thursday morning.
No, Thursday morning,
Thursday
that's
morning.
right, yeah. And then we had a clear day then, and we were coming back to do mid-morning on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So you burn off in the old F-Space.
F-Pace.
F-Pace, that's right, yeah.
Well, you're mistaking it for the Espace,
Espace,
which is a Renault.
Right, yeah.
Nothing like my car.
And I was sorting things out in the boot of my car,
right.
you know, like...
What have you got in the boot of your car? There always seems to be loads of stuff in there.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, like some kind of second-hand car salesman driving around with all this stuff in the back.
No, there's a consignment of porky scratchings.
Okay.
There's a couple of bottles of red wine.
Yeah. Just in case you get stuck in a lay-by somewhere.
No, not in case I get stuck in a lay-by, but sometimes if I go to one of my other homes and I forgot to get the wine in, I need a reserve supply.
Yes, quite right.
And,
I don't think you drank red wine.
I do like a drop of red wine more and more.
Is that right?
Do you know what I do? Funny enough, when I had the fish and chips yesterday, I have a large glass of white, then a large glass of red, then a large glass of white, then a large glass of red.
What, just interchangeable?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Is that good for you?
Well, I don't know, but it's great. If I have too
much...
much...
good for your palate, is it?
If I have too much white wine, two things happen. Firstly, I start to taste the grape more than I'd like to.
It's a bit acidic, perhaps.
Yes, that's right. That's absolutely right, the acidity. And secondly, it leaves me sloth the next morning.
Yeah.
So I prefer to mix it with red. Yeah, that's right.
Are you sure you're using that word correctly?
Yes, I am, yeah. Yeah, why?
Well, sloth is a sort of noun, isn't it?
Yes, it is noun,
You're using it as an adjective.
Yes, I suppose I am, yeah. But it leaves me sort of...
like a sloth.
Like a sloth, yeah. It leaves me...
the two-toed variety?
No, less pacey than I normally am, put it that way, you know? So that's the reason. But anyway, so you go off. So I get in my car, and I get up to the top of Stamford Street, turn left, and then remember that horrific moment for you when you were coming over the New Forest and you heard this ping, and it was in your older car.
Yeah, it was in the old Land Rover,
and the gearbox had gone, right?
Yeah, the transmission shot.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
so
it went into limp mode.
So this ping goes, and I thought, what's that?
Yeah.
What can that be?
Yeah.
Then
So just right here, just as you left the office?
Just on Stamford Street.
Right.
Just I came out of Hatfields, turned left on Stamford Street. So then it comes up on the computer right in front of me, and it says that the back right-hand side tyre on my side, that's on the driver's side, had gone from its normal pressure of 235 to 90.
But you've been getting these messages ever since you've had this car.
Hang on, this is not the way, sir. And I thought, oh, no. So I thought, I'll drive slowly and see how far I can go before it goes down any further.
Okay.
Anyway, I got it home, through skillful driving.
Because the problem with those tyres, when you look at them, you couldn't tell if they were down or not.
You can't
because
tell.
They're those low-profile things,
I did stop outside Sainsbury's, got out, looked at the tyre and thought, there's nothing in that to get home. Right. So I kept driving.
You sure you didn't stop in that place where you got a ticket the last time?
No, I definitely didn't. No, I made sure I didn't. Yeah. So I got home.
Sure, blimey.
So I put it in
the time, by the way.
Hang on, put it in the garage. Now, Quick Fit, my man at Quick Fit.
Your man at Quick Fit.
Who, by the way...
who's now bought himself a house in Barbados.
It's right. When he sees me coming, he thinks, oh, it's Christmas Day again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is the 7th tyre he's changed on my car.
But didn't I tell you the last time you went there, and then he said there was nothing wrong with the tyre, you took it to Mercedes, they x-rayed it and found all sorts of stuff inside it.
That wasn't him. That was a nail. That was somebody else. But it's the same saga. But anyway, so the problem was, I go down to the underground car park at 8:30, just before Quick Fit open, and the pressure's gone down to 50. And I'm thinking, is it safe to drive? Because the weight of the wheel might start to gouge into the tyre.
Well, also, then if you damage the wheel, then you're into some serious money.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Anyway, again, through massively skillful driving, I get it to Quick Fit, OK?
Yeah.
The guy's there, and he can't believe it. And he reminded me that, well, hang on, we only put that tyre on 3 months ago. That was your last puncture.
Yeah.
I said, I know.
On the same wheel?
On the same wheel.
So that's the one that's always getting done?
Same wheel. So he jacks it up, takes it off, turns it round, and a little screw I would say no longer than half an inch long, with a crosshair in the top, not a groove, but
like a Phillips.
Yes, that's right, Phillips screw, gone straight to the tire. But on the one or two previous occasions, he's been able just to plug that. You see, well, I'm not too keen.
I thought
on
he said he gave you a new tyre.
Well, this is what I'm saying. But on one or two previous occasions, when it's such a small screw, they can plug it.
Right.
But he said, "Look, I'm sorry, I can't because these tyres are very intricate, and it was down in the groove of a division in the tyre."
Right.
He said, "We can't plug that."
Right.
I said, "That's fine. Just give me a new tyre." But why it's always happened to me.
So how much was the new tyre?
170.
Dear God.
But why people are following me around with bags of screws and throwing them around my car, I've no idea.
Well, as somebody said yesterday...
It's so unkind.
Somebody said yesterday the list of suspects is quite long now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's growing by the day.
Yeah.
All these people you keep upsetting.
Yeah.
But incredible. Absolutely incredible. I don't know what you can do about that except getting a new car and get some better wheels, because the wheels are the problem.
It can't be the wheels and it can't be the tyres. Prior to that, I had 4 Jaguars, and I didn't have a single puncture in 10 years.
Yeah, but none of them had those kind of tyres.
No, they didn't. That's
so
true.
It must be the kind of tyres you've got.
Well, I don't know what other sort of tyres you put on a...
get normal tyres instead of,
two-door,
boy racer type tyres.
fastback, 3.5 litre Merc, top of the range. I don't know what other sort of tyres
it spends more time jacked up than it spends on the road.
It's certainly been jacked up a lot.
Absolutely hopeless. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics on the warm-up. Now, you never, ever fail to be amazed by some of the tweets that we get here on the show on Talk Sport.
Yeah.
Mark says, surely sloths have 3 toes?
Yes.
Well, I must tell you, Mark, some of them do, but many of them only have 2 toes.
Yes, that's true.
Check it out. Look out, the 2-toed sloth.
I
think you'll find they come from Central and South America.
Yeah.
Patrick says this, that 300 quid is going to Porky's charity, i.e. his wallet. I bet he donates 300 packets of Porky scratchings instead.
Well, I'm not averse to a few packets of Porky scratches going the right way as well.
And he says, Anders says, I think the word Mr. Parry was looking for is lethargic.
Well, lethargic is another one. You're absolutely right.
You could have used that word.
Yes, I could have used that word.
Now, a couple of other people have got things to say about... how about this from Tim? Any tips at a derby after your magnificent Oaks success?
Well, can I just tell you this? All I did yesterday was tell people what I was betting on, just so that they wouldn't come back to me afterwards and say, oh, yeah, show us the evidence, right?
Yeah, right.
But I would never advise anybody to follow any horse that I tip. I'm sorry, I'm not an expert on horse racing. I just have instincts. I like the look of Frankie Dettori.
Well, it's never a bad idea, is it, to back Frankie Dettori on a horse?
Exactly. In a classic, he's won 19.
Although I heard him talking earlier, and he was saying on TalkSport that he thinks he's got less chance of winning in the horse he's got in the Derby than he had yesterday.
That's right, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But they always say that. But the point is, I would never, ever, ever say to anybody, oh, get your money on this. Because I'm not a big enough expert on horse racing. Mine are all instinctive, right? I tell you about my wins. I don't tell you about my losses. So, you may... look, if
you don't tell us about your losses.
Well, I don't have many losses.
Well, why don't you tell us about them then?
Well, I don't have many.
You don't have many?
I haven't had one recently.
It's not one of those days yesterday where you backed about 8 horses.
No.
I backed
2. No, I backed 2, and I was quite open about it.
All right.
Anyway, so I'm not going to tell you I'm going to back in the Derby because I don't know myself yet. Right. What I do is I will get into... Oh, by the way...
Well, you not do it by choice of colour and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I will. What I'll do is I will probably get into a restaurant this afternoon in Stockbroker Belt somewhere, maybe a few miles from Epsom.
A restaurant?
Yeah, I'll be watching...
Sure, maybe a pub.
Well, it could be a pub restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'll be watching it on the big screen, and then I'll get out the spread, that you get in every newspaper today, and try and work out what I think could be the winner. That's the way I do it.
Is that right?
Now, can I tell you, last night in Stockbroker Belt, because I was out for the fish and chips yesterday, just as the racing broke up.
Oh, yeah.
And I got away just in time, because the invasion of the inebriated female was well underway.
Is that right?
Oh,
well, normally that's something you'd hang around for, isn't it?
Well, in years gone by, it's fair to say, and I was a younger man, I may have hung around and tried to...
Take advantage?
No, to befriend some of these happy ladies from Epsom.
Yeah.
And that has happened in the past, I have to admit, because I live close by.
Yeah.
But,
is that one of the reasons you moved there?
No, it's not actually, no. But, I felt to myself...
Perks of the area.
Yeah, it's like
well, there was quite a few pictures.
Postcode lottery.
That's it, yeah. There was quite a few pictures in some of the papers today of some what looks like... I mean, people and people should be reminded of this, because remember, whenever they do it about Aintree,
that's right.
Everybody goes, why are you always picking on Liverpool?
Yeah, that's
Actually, they do it about the Epsom meeting as well.
They did.
And they also do Ascot, and they also do Cheltenham.
Well, certainly
it's not an anti-northern thing.
No, and I have to say, I was propositioned at the railway station.
Proposition?
Yes, I was, yeah.
By whom?
A group of refreshed ladies.
Really?
Yes.
What did they say to you?
Well, they were getting a bit saucy. I decided to make myself scarce. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Was there nobody else around then?
What do you mean?
Well, were you the only male within sort of 50 yards?
I was probably the only single male who had a look of authority about him, you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's...
Which is unusual for that time of the afternoon, because normally that's not the look that you're sporting, is it?
No, that's not the case.
Now, how about this from Gerard?
Yeah.
Porky stores his red wine in the boot of his car. In this heat, tell him mulled wine is traditionally served at Christmas.
Yeah, well, no.
That's not going to be good, because the car is going to be so hot in this weather.
Yeah.
The car will be about 35 degrees.
I'm very aware of that. I'm not
worried.
If it gets hot, I take it out.
Okay, all right, jolly good.
Now, I want to tell you about a story which is quite surprising to me, and it will be to you as a Fleet Street veteran.
Yes.
Now, on the back of the Daily Express today, a chap called Richard Tanner, who's a very fine journalist indeed, has written a story which holds the headline, Zlat's your lot, Old Trafford career over for Ibrahimovic, as United say no to New Deal, and it's billed as an exclusive.
Yes.
Now, this is an incredible story, and it's only run by Richard Tanner of the Express. I'm amazed that other of our pals in Fleet Street, you know, the finest, have not leapt onto this.
I'll tell you what's also interesting about it is that he's written it, what we would say in our style, is very hard. He hasn't written it in a way leaving any room for doubt. Because quite often you read these stories and it's, you know, so-and-so is set to do something, or is poised to do something, or Manchester United are likely to. He's basically saying that the Swede will not be offered a new deal when his one-year contract expires on June the 30th. Very, very solidly.
It's absolutely specific. It's not even got the, you know, Manchester United, you know, set to, as you quite rightly say, or sources at Old Trafford have said.
Right.
He's saying, from his own knowledge, Zlatan Ibrahimovic's brief Manchester United career is over.
Yeah.
The Swede will not be offered a new deal when his one-year contract expires on June the 30th. Ibrahimovic, who will be 36 in October, is not expected to play again before the new year after rupturing knee ligaments during United over League quarter-final.
So is there a suggestion then that they don't want to pay that kind of money out because it's £19 million a year and he won't play for the first half of the season?
He's saying that to extend the contract after June the 30th, when he's not even going to play again until January, has led to the conclusion amongst the Manchester United hierarchy that the gamble's too much.
Yes.
It's all over on June the 30th.
Yeah.
Now, if any Manchester United fans are listening, I would love to get your reaction.
What do you mean if any Manchester United fans are listening?
Well, millions will be.
There will be loads of Manchester United fans.
There will be.
Not only listening in Manchester, but listening in London, listening in Hong Kong, listening in Sydney, Australia, listening in Cape Town.
But if you'd let me finish, instead of butting in as usual,
okay.
If any Manchester United fans are listening who have a view on this, let me just finish, who have a view on this, would like to get hold of us, I will remind you of the number, which I always read slowly, because if you read it in a garbled fashion, then nobody can understand what it is.
That.
So it is 08717 22 33 44. Okay?
Very good.
And I want you to give us a call and tell us whether you think this is a disaster.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point is, I think he might have put the piece of the jigsaw together, because Jose's pulled out of signing Griezmann from...
Well, he hasn't really pulled out, but there's a transfer embargo, isn't there, on Atletico Madrid. That's
no, but
he
said we're not interested anymore.
Well, yeah, but they can't sell him anyway.
Yes, but what he said is that the policy he was going to pursue was that Griezmann was going to come and play off the shoulder of Ibrahimovic.
Right.
But now he's saying, I need another Ibrahimovic. So it's putting the pieces of the jigsaw together.
Well, I'll tell you what also is interesting on the pieces of the jigsaw front, which is in this story as well by Mr. Tanner, that the bookmakers up in Manchester suspended betting on Ibrahimovic's departure yesterday after sizable bets were placed in the city.
Oh, okay.
Now, you can't always put two and two together and make four, but if there are bets being put on which the bookmakers are suspicious of, in terms of, you know, this could be somebody with insider knowledge, then that would suggest that something is about to happen. And perhaps you're quite right to say that this guy's got some inside track on it. Difficult to say, but we'd love to hear from you. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Loads coming up. Matt says this. Just opened my birthday present from the wife. She's done good. And he's got a Two Mics T-shirt on.
Excellent.
Says now off some afternoon bladderation.
I love it.
We'll make sure it's in moderation, Matt, and happy birthday.
Indeed.
Well done, indeed. Now, just before the news, though, we were talking about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The Express got a story saying that his contract will not be renewed. Very sure that his contract's not being renewed. Is that wise, given that Manchester United are in the Champions League, might need him after Christmas when he's fit again to play? Let's take some calls. 08717 22 3344. Steve is a Man United fan. Steve, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, very well,
very
mate.
good
What would you like to say?
I just think it's a no-brainer. Zlatan's made his bed and he's got a lie in it. He's been a fantastic player over many years. I've craved him coming to United for years. So almost as like Cantona's, second coming. But, he had plenty of opportunities to sign a new contract in the 3 or 4 months before he got injured. tragedy that he's got injured, but I know, having suffered a cruciate myself, when they say 6 months, it's never 6 months. It's always 8, it's always 9. By the time he comes back, he's going to be 36, knocking on 37. Why would you spend all that money? Why would you pour?
Well, I suppose so. But I mean, if he's not going to get that money anywhere else because of the injury, right? Could they not do some kind of a deal just to have him around for the Champions League if they get through to the knockout stage? Because he's the kind of guy you would love to have to bring on in any Champions League game, isn't he?
He is, but you've got to, listen to the fact that Zlatan's a massive ego. Zlatan could command whatever he wants, wherever he wants, because the merchandising aspect of it is a name, and he's going to pull in £250,000 a week, £300,000 a week, wherever he wants to go, even when he's injured, because he'll sell shirts and they'll do all the, merchandising and media off the back of it. United don't need that, because United have got possibly the second best young player, number 9 in the country, after Harry Kane. They need to give him his wings. Rashford's got brilliant talent.
Well, Steve, do you know what? I was going to put this to you. Isn't this, in a way, a blessing in disguise? Because surely Ibrahimovic was just a temporary measure to try and, have a bit of a battering ram policy in the first season with Jose Mourinho. But I think the fact that he's now out of the game gives everybody at United an opportunity to say, right, we start with a new white sheet of paper, and we start building the team the way we want to build it. We don't have to direct everything to Ibrahimovic.
Totally agree. I think he's more than a battering ram. I think he's got great technique. What a player! Brilliant.
Yes, I agree. But nevertheless, he was a great, sort of focal point for the team.
Stopgap measure as well, I suppose.
Yeah, stopgap. That's what I mean. Yeah.
But Rashford is absolute class. You can see that. He reminds me of a young Giggs. He just glides across the ground. He's got that balance. He's got everything. But we need to find some goals from elsewhere in the team, because Martial may come good next year. I really hope to keep him, and he possibly comes good. But we've got to find a goal-scoring right winger, and we've got to find those goals back from Mkhitaryan. We've got to get Mkhitaryan scoring 15, and we've got to get a dozen from Pogba next year, because the way he sets up with a non-attacking fullback, there was hardly a goal from the defence last year. I think probably the whole back four contributed maybe 3 goals all season between them. So we've got to find goal scorers.
Okay. Absolutely right. Listen, Steve, thank you very much indeed for the call. 08717 223344. Are Manchester United right? Is Steve right that they don't need Zlatan Ibrahimovic?
I mean, he was a stopgap, as you quite rightly said. The whole idea was,
without his goals, they wouldn't be where they are. Right?
I totally agree, but he's 36 moving on to 37. Yeah. So, if you don't make a decision on Ibrahimovic now, the decision will be made for you. Yes. He'll just drop off in form and it'll be a disaster.
Let's talk to Ashley, who's in Torquay. Yeah. Ashley, a very good morning to you.
I'm on my way to Torquay.
Oh, on your way to Torquay? What do you go to Torquay for?
Just for some sunshine and a beer, to be fair.
Some bladderation, eh?
Excellent plan. From where are you travelling from?
I'm from Chichester, actually.
That's quite a long way to go for a beer.
It is.
Well, got some friends down there. I'll travel quite a distance for a nice pint.
Yeah,
okay, mate.
Top
that's
man.
Good.
What do you want to say about Man United and Ibrahimovic?
I agree with a lot with what Steve's saying there, but I think his argument kind of against himself, saying that he brings in a lot of revenue and in shirt sales and stuff anyway. So why wouldn't you take the gamble on him? If he gets you through to the semi-final of the Champions League, if he plays 3 games and has that kind of influence, as we know he can, he's more than repaid his worth.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, we were talking about this the other day. The amounts of money now floating around in football, to pay somebody 19 million if you're Manchester United is sounds ridiculous to say it, but it's a drop in the ocean. It doesn't make any difference to them, and they'll get probably 15 million back anyway.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you just take the gamble?
Yeah. Well, but the point is, I think it's a much wider issue here, Ashley. It's not about taking a gamble. It's about, hang on, do we now say thank you very much to Ibrahimovic for the job he did us in the first season? We can't have any passengers now. He's limping around, the training ground on crutches and all that. No, let's get rid and let's turn to a new plan.
To be honest, I still think unless there's some significant changes and signings in the summer, United still need that target man.
Well, you may well be right, but there should be significant signings. And what I'm saying is, by writing off Ibrahimovic, that will force the hand of those who have to make the signings.
There's that potential.
Yes,
agree.
yes.
Yeah, indeed, and it may well be. Ashley, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend in Torquay and the beer and the mates and all the rest of it.
I love
Torquay's a
Torquay,
great
don't
place.
you?
I do like Torquay.
At this
actually.
time of year would be absolutely marvellous.
It's one of the first places I went as a sort of a young adult.
Yeah, on your own.
On my not with
your
somebody.
friends.
Yeah,
that's what.
Well, it was with my girlfriend. Actually,
yeah, I know.
at the time.
I went with the lads 2 years on the run, and we had a fantastic time there. It was, it was a very, very rich environment
as
for
Basil Fawlty calls it, the English Riviera.
The English Riviera, a very rich environment for socialising.
Yes. It's a family show. This
acquiring friendships with
short term,
short-term friendships.
Yeah,
yes, you're right. Yes.
Very nice.
Yes. Sometimes,
lots of
sometimes
tweets.
as short as maybe just the night.
Yeah, all right. There's no point in elaborating when I've already told you it's a family show.
Right,
the whole point is you're supposed to calm it all down.
Calm it down.
Now, how about this from Donovan? Man United's big signing this summer could be Mr. Bale. Time for his return to the Premier League.
Well, I was banging the drum on that yesterday. If I was Manchester United now and I was looking at the subs bench tonight at the Champions League final in Cardiff, boyo, I'd say to myself, I wonder if Gareth Bale's happy. I know he's coming back from injury, and that's why he'd probably start on the bench. But old Issoko seems to be doing a very good job, doesn't he? In the middle
Issoko?
Yeah.
For who?
For Real Madrid.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
What do you mean?
Do you mean Isco?
Yeah. I mean Isco. That's
you don't
what
mean
I mean.
Issoko, do you?
I mean Isco.
Who's Issoko?
Isco, you idiot.
Well, Isco, you idiot, might be starting ahead of Gareth Bale because he's the informed player.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So where does that leave Gareth Bale for the start of next season? So what you do is you put a case to him, and in the words of a very famous film, you make the buy an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah, now here's
to go
a question.
To Manchester United.
A question for you to ponder. You don't have to answer it straight away.
Okay.
Is it possible that because of Ronaldo's sort of super strength and super ability to be the be-all and end-all of everything at Real Madrid, that he has kind of somehow marginalised Gareth Bale this season with a view to moving him on and getting him out because he didn't want him to... Because allegedly, when Gareth Bale first went to Real Madrid, he was going to be the new Ronaldo. He was going to come on, and as Ronaldo kind of, pared himself down and became less effective and less quick and less good, that Gareth Bale was going to take over. And that hasn't happened.
I can believe
that. Hasn't happened.
I can believe all what you've just said, right? Yeah. I mean, Ronaldo is so super competitive. Danny Murphy, who is a colleague of ours, right? Now, Danny was... he was writing somewhere this week. By the way, I see that Danny was named as the up-and-coming new football pundit of merit after his co-commentary on the Cup final last week.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was a...
Okay. He's a very clever man.
He's a very clever man. But anyway, Danny wrote something this week, and I can't remember where it was, but he was talking about when he played against Ronaldo,
right?
And he said the guy is so single-minded and so about himself. Now, what happened was Ronaldo tried to take Danny out of it, right? And Danny thinks that if he'd have fallen the way he should have fallen, Ronaldo could possibly have been sent off.
Right.
But Danny is a guy...
When you say tried to take him out of it, you mean he physically tried to...
They both went for a ball and Ronaldo went over it and caught Danny.
Oh, what, deliberately?
Yeah, deliberately, yeah. And because a few minutes earlier, a decision had gone against Ronaldo, so he was full of fury, you know what I mean? Right. And he overreacted. And Danny's just a damn decent chap, so he didn't do the old roll around and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
He said, all right, I'm all right, ref, and all that, and he got up. And then he said, so I offered Ronaldo the low five.
Yeah.
You know the high five is a public celebration. Yes. The low five is a kind of, I helped you out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ronaldo just completely blanked him and ran off, and he said, I should have known, really.
Sure.
Because he wouldn't. But the thing is, you're absolutely right. He was very worried that somebody else was going to take his mantle as a superstar. Yeah. And funny enough, some of the analysis I've seen for this big game tonight, from what I would call very well-read scribes, are talking about whether Ronaldo, through his sheer determination to be who he is, has actually eclipsed Real Madrid, and that Ronaldo is a bigger image of what the Royal Madrid club is all about than the other 10 players put together.
Well, you have to say, you can't imagine what they will be like without him.
No.
He is now, Ronaldo is now Real Madrid. Real Madrid is Ronaldo.
Yes, that's right.
It's absolutely right. We'll talk some more about that. How about this from Jim, who says, Mr. Parry's clearly advocating Ibrahimovic because he knows United will go after Lukaku.
Well, hang on. If I'm saying that I can see why United will let Ibrahimovic go, why would I want to do that if I think they're going to turn to Lukaku to replace him? I want Lukaku to stay at Everton. I don't care about the 100 million.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So you want Lukaku to stay at Everton?
Of course I do.
Well, you should want Ibrahimovic to stay at United then.
Well, I don't care about what Manchester United's issues are. What I'm saying is looking at it as an analytical issue. I don't think that he's got another season left in him. So it wouldn't surprise me that the story we've picked out from the back of the Daily Express today, Richard Tanner, is true.
Indeed.
That he's had he's been given his cards.
He's been told thanks but no thanks.
Yeah.
God, this is a terrible song, isn't it?
What do you mean it's a terrible song?
Terrible song, mate.
That's Susie Quattro.
I know it's Susie Quattro. It's awful.
I think
terrible.
I think that was our first one. And then
I think it was.
Wasn't the second one Can the Can?
Can the Can, yeah. That was
Man
even worse,
in the can,
please don't sing double Susie Quattro at me.
But anyway, can you believe Susie Quattro, 67 today?
I can believe
67, unbelievable.
She's still wearing a leather outfit.
I don't think she does.
I think that's all she ever wore, wasn't it?
I think it is all she ever wore.
Leather trousers, leather jacket.
When I was a student at the University of the Trent, right, in
Nottingham Polytechnic.
In Nottingham,
Yeah.
I was in my first place there was in Diggs in Harlaxton Drive.
Oh, yeah.
And if we walked down the road away from what used to call the park, there was a pub called the 19th and 21st Lancers.
Oh, yeah.
And this was, in fact, one of the roughest pubs in Nottingham. But it had a fantastic jukebox.
Yeah.
And the three great songs we used to play were Golden Earring,
Yeah.
Radar Love.
Radar Love, yep.
This one, Susie Quattro.
Yeah.
And
it was a golden era for music.
It was a golden era for music. But the thing is, she's only about
What was the third one? Come on.
Hang on,
Try to
Golden
remember
Earring, a Radar Love.
Yeah,
bum,
you don't have to sing them
Oh,
all.
I know what it
You
was.
just have to tell me what they were.
You won't believe it. It was David Bowie.
Yeah.
And it's probably his worst ever song.
Yeah.
I'm a Garden Gnome.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Was it, you know?
Yeah, the Laughing Gnome.
The Laughing Gnome.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
He.
Yeah.
I'm the Laughing Gnome, but you can't stop me.
Yeah, Can't
that's
Catch
the
Me,
one.
I think. Yeah, very strange. But I could never quite understand Susie Quattro because she was from somewhere like Detroit.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
she came to Britain.
She did,
and lived
stayed
here. And stayed here and did this kind of mock sort of rock and roll thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But it never really was very convincing because she had this terribly sort of charming and nice face.
That's right.
She didn't really look like the sort of person that she was trying to portray herself as.
She didn't look like the sort of girl who would jump on the back of a hog and roar off down into the Mojave Desert. You know what I mean?
The what?
The Mojave Desert.
Oh, the Mojave Desert.
That's right, the Mojave. Yeah,
exactly.
And
it's not anywhere near Detroit, by the way.
No, I know. And the other thing is, she was only about 5'2".
Yeah, I don't think she was even that.
No,
she was about 4'11".
I think you're right. But she used to play
a huge guitar,
a bass guitar.
Yeah.
This is a thing. Now, I mean, musicians, they go around to write music and all that. They don't usually write it by holding a bass guitar. It's usually like a lead guitar or a.
Well, Paul McCartney played the bass, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But I mean, he also played everything else, didn't he? And mostly speaking, a songwriter would get an acoustic guitar, wouldn't he, and start strumming on it and putting a few words together.
I suppose so,
chords,
but maybe she could play both of them.
Yeah,
as well.
I'm sure she can. Look, she's had a very successful life, but I totally agree. To find out she's 67 really shocked me.
Well,
but,
it shouldn't shock you because I mean you're not far off that age yourself, and so you're getting up there. With all your former icons are going to be that old.
That pub, by the way, indicated to me I was going to be a success in life because 2 nights a week I worked in there as a barman, right? Because obviously I've had a work ethic from a very early age.
Well, also you might as well cut out the middleman and just work behind the bar. that way you don't have to wait in line.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, the guy who ran it was a very decent bloke, even though it was a bit of a sort of bit of a pit, really.
Yeah.
In fact, I broke up a fight one night when.
This is a long story, by the way.
Well,
we've got somebody waiting to talk to us.
Yeah, we'll talk to him right now. When some Irish bloke was trying to smash me over the head with a glass, but I ended up running the pub when he went on holiday. At the age of 18, he appointed me assistant
manager. We'll get back to that because there is a very, very big, important football match going on tonight down in Cardiff, right? In the Principality Stadium. It is, of course, Real Madrid trying to win back-to-back Champions League finals, playing Juventus, who are going to try and stop them. And we're going to talk to our very good friend now, Tancredi Palmieri, who's going to tell us from the point of view of Italians what's going on. Tancredi, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you. Buongiorno, guys.
Buongiorno.
Mike, you can't remember still my name after so many years we have worked together.
Yeah, it's a long time, Tancredi. I mean, I'm delighted that we are now speaking once again. Yeah. Are you in Cardiff tonight?
I'm in Turin, actually. I'm covering exactly from the point of view of the Italian.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, I'm backing Juventus tonight.
Rubbish.
Yes, I am. Mr. Parry thinks, on the other hand, that Real Madrid are going to win it. So what's your feeling, Tancredi?
Well, imagine that back in January, so before that all the knockout actions happened, before Barcelona and Bayern Munich were out, back in January, I said Juventus not among the favourites of Champions League, the first favourites of Champions League. Many were saying, what are you saying? Look at Real Madrid, look at Barcelona, look at Bayern Munich. We are here. Why should I change now my prediction?
Yeah, why should you change it now, indeed? Well, one reason why you might change it is the sparkling form of one Ronaldo. I mean, how are Juventus going to stop him? What is their plan?
Well, because football is not only about one man, as also it was learned after what happened against Barcelona. And it has been a complete team all round. Obviously, their strongest asset is in defense, but it's not a defensive team. It's a team that is playing with four forwards up front. It's reminding a lot the Mourinho's Inter that was playing with Eto'o, Milito, Sneijder, Pandev, many forwards, but all the team playing together, doing together the defensive and the offensive phase, because it's 21 years since Juventus are not winning. And this is something uncommon if for one that is absolutely belonging to the top 10 European clubs in the history. They failed many finals, but this time around, while the others, for example, against Barcelona, they too were coming after losing some few finals, but that Barcelona was stronger indeed. This Real Madrid, also satisfied by the league, by two champions in the last 3 years, is surely at the same level of Juventus, but the hunger and the determination of Juventus is more unique than the one of Real.
And as you say, I mean, Barcelona, with possibly the best attacking front line in the world ever, right, with Neymar, Suarez and Messi, couldn't score in two matches against this team. So you have to say Tancredi has a point. And what about Buffon? Because it's maybe his time as well. This is his third attempt to win a Champions League title. And I just think maybe all the gods are in the right direction, if you know what I mean.
Indeed. Look, I was talking with Demetrio Albertini, you remember probably Milan legend in the midfield of the Sakis Milan that won the Champions League, and rightly so, he was saying Gigi Buffon would deserve the Ballon d'Or not for his career, but exactly for his season. And it is true. Because it's not only the fact that he's deserving after so many years, so long time. He has been absolutely decisive and crucial. And how many times it happens that at the end of the career, someone is actually reaching the top? Buffon, plus the Italian BBC, Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini, they all have been absolutely granitic. As you mentioned, conceded to Barcelona, but actually the only goal conceded along the whole group stages, all the knockout stages, was a goal conceded to Monaco when Juventus were already ahead 3-0 on aggregate, playing at home 30 minutes to end, so when the game was not counting anymore. Nobody still has found a way to unlock the Juventus defense, which is exactly by this will of winning and determination and strength.
OK, that's fine. Now, Tancredi, back in Italy, is the Italian league becoming boring because Juventus are now so dominant? They win every season consecutively. They're probably going to again next season. What's going on?
I'll 50-50 backing your thought. The Italian league has not become boring. Actually, it's way lively than before. And from next season, where 4, not 3 teams will be allowed to Champions League, will be even better. What has become boring is the title challenge.
Exactly.
Because the gap between Juventus and the others really looks like unfillable. But maybe the other fans should all support Juventus, because maybe if finally Juventus would reach tonight those long-pursued Champions League, well, maybe next year their will of determination could lower. Maybe some of the crucial players could leave. And first of all, I'm thinking about Bonucci, that last season rejected a huge offer from Manchester City and Chelsea.
And got it. Okay. Thanks very much indeed, old Tancredi.
Tancredi, thank you very much indeed. Good luck to Juventus tonight. I'm sure they're going to do it, actually. For some reason, I've just got this feeling. I'm not basing it on anything other than just a feeling I've got. So we shall see.
I never used to forget his name, by the way, because in the office, I always used to call him Tanked Up. Not that he ever was, you know what I mean? But,
well, speaking of that, here's one from the Colchester who says, I can't imagine Porky running a pub. Surely he would drink it dry first. I do love the idea of a booze bag. Which we will talk about coming up a little bit later. A couple of people as well saying that your stories from Nottingham don't actually quite reveal the truth, because Minor says this, if Parry lived in Harlexton Drive when he was a student, he certainly wasn't slumming it. Those were luxury digs.
Oh, yeah, they were. Yeah, they were quite luxury. Yeah, but down the bottom of the hill, there was a roundabout, and on one side was the Grove Hotel, which was probably the worst titled hotel in the world.
Yeah.
That was a flea pit, where the beer was 11p a pint.
Right.
That's why we used to go in there, because we were on student money.
Well, I've got some other information for you on that. Mark says the 17th and 21st Lancers was never a rough pub. God only knows what he'd have made of the winning post or the cocked hat.
Yeah, well, that's true, yeah.
Were they even worse?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if I ever went in them. I probably did. I went into every pub in Nottingham.
Well, I was going to say,
but the Grove Hotel on the other side of the roundabout was terrible. The 17th and 21st Lancers was okay, but that's only because it was a new built pub, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It hadn't yet been allowed to decay,
yes.
But some of the people in it were decaying.
Including some of the people behind the bar, presumably.
Oh, yeah, so that's true,
Which included you. Got a great tweet here from Colin, who's showing us a picture of his son. Unfortunately, he doesn't give his name, but he's holding up his son on his 13th birthday, his favourite present he received today, right? And guess what it is? Tell me what it is.
It's a card of Porky Scratchings.
It is a card of Porky Scratchings.
So that's terrific.
And he says, Colin says, it's my son's 13th birthday, and this was his favourite present. Can you please both wish him a happy birthday?
That's great.
So happy birthday, Colin's son.
Yes.
Unfortunately, your dad didn't tell us what your name is.
No, but nevertheless, I hope you have a great day. As
Indeed.
I'm sure you will.
Absolutely right. Now, somebody else is going to have a great day. Peter Conradi. From the Sunday Times foreign desk. He's a foreign editor, in fact. He's going to tell us what's coming up in the paper tomorrow.
Great.
Peter, a long time no speak. How are you?
I'm very well.
Excellent.
How are you?
Very well indeed.
Good.
Welcome back to the fray. Very, very big week for you guys. Of course, it'll be the last paper you do before the election on Thursday. Have you got some massive sort of pull-outs and things going on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got to do a big deal on the election. We've got a big interview with Boris Johnson, which should be interesting. It's been done by my colleague Tim Shipman, the political editor. Great stuff. I'm not going to reveal the best lines from it, but rest assured that Boris is on good bouncy form and doesn't have very kind words for Jeremy Corbyn.
No, he's bound to be. Now, Trump and the climate change, it doesn't matter whether you think he's done a good thing here or a bad thing here. Worst headline I looked at this morning was, it's going to cost everybody in Britain more, because if the United States take $2.3 billion out of the equation, somebody's got to plug it.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a complex thing, the whole thing, the numbers and so on. I mean, my favourite take on it was a cartoon this morning, and I think in the Times, of Trump in Mar-a-Lago in Florida on his golf buggy with water, the waves lapping up around his waist, I think.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was trailed because we had at the G7 meeting last Saturday when everyone else, all the other leaders were reaffirming their commitment to the agreement. Trump said, I'm not quite sure, I'll let you know next week. I mean, what is interesting really is what, and this is something we explore in the paper tomorrow, is what actually goes on within the country, because you've got a lot of companies. I mean, particularly the high tech ones like Google, Apple, all these kind of people who are setting off on a real green agenda.
Yeah.
They are cutting down on emissions anyway. You've got the car makers, the American car makers, who are again trying to make more and more fuel efficient cars. Plus, you've got within America, the president says one thing, but the individual states can decide all sorts of different things. So you've got places like California, which is particularly green, has really sort of led the way over the years. So, it's not, I think it's obviously a dramatic, symbolic gesture.
Sure.
But
don't you think he's just doing it to sort of prove to the people that elected him that he's going to keep his promises so that he can stand up at another one of these Trump-esque rallies and go, I'm keeping my promises, and of course, rather amusingly, I saw that one of the things he said was, I'm doing this for the people of Pittsburgh, not the people of Paris.
That's right.
And, of course, the Pittsburgh mayor is one of those, as you've just suggested, Peter, who says, well, actually, we're keeping the green sort of measures that we're doing in Pittsburgh, thanks.
I know, precisely. It's bizarre. I mean, he's, the mayor of Pittsburgh is a Democrat and pretty anti-Trumpian. It's kind of a reflection of Trump, I think, that before coming out with a line like that, he doesn't actually check. Couldn't you have found another town in America beginning with P that would have gone along with him?
He could have had Passaic, New Jersey.
That's right. Yeah. Or the Potomac.
Precisely.
No,
but it's symbolic stuff, and it's in a sense for him, he can't get any legislation through Congress. He can't do any of the complicated stuff. So he needs some cheap hits, and this is one of them, really.
Okay. Now, I understand that you're interviewing James Corden, Peter. I have to say, certainly from my point of view, he's one of the most popular people that I ever see on TV or listen to on the radio, an all-round sort of good UK boy.
He is indeed, yeah. One of our writers, Chrissy Eiley, went out to LA to interview him. She had a great interview with him. The peg for it is that he's coming. He's well known now for doing the Late Late Show, very well known to American audience, and I mean you can pick it up over here. But he's coming over to London this next week to do 3 of his shows from London. That's the peg for doing it. But it's really just a kind of a long talk with him about how he's just made it so big in America. Extraordinary kind of rise.
It certainly
incredible.
is.
Helped enormously by that very clever idea, the carpool karaoke.
Unbelievable.
Which no matter whether you like James Corden or not, which I didn't really before that, it's fascinating watching, isn't it?
Yeah, we got a list of, the people he's had in the car. He's had Adele, Michelle Obama,
Stevie Wonder,
brackets driving,
Rod Stewart,
Madonna, One Direction, Katy Perry. I could go on and on.
Rod Stewart,
incredible.
It's absolutely brilliant. Well, listen, Peter, lovely to speak to you again.
Thanks,
and
Pete.
Have a great weekend. I'm sure you'll have an interesting week as well with the election coming up. Yeah. Peter Conradi there from the Sunday Times. He's their foreign editor, of course.
Yes.
Loads coming up in the Sunday Times tomorrow, worth looking at. And if you haven't seen it, you should go on YouTube and have a look. There's a great one with Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
He's driving, and at one point they're sort of sitting at traffic lights,
right?
And somebody on the outside on the street points into the car and goes, "That's Rod Stewart," and they start waving at him, and he starts waving out the window, and it's very funny.
Brilliant.
Yeah, very good. It's very good indeed. Now, there's a lot of unease out there now that you've given your backing to Real Madrid.
Okay.
Gossip says this. Now that Porky's backed Real Madrid, they will lose. No. Hashtag Porky jinx.
No, I don't think so.
Andy says, I'd better wager the farm on Juve. Gianluigi Buffon.
Well,
get in there.
It's all about betting responsibly, of course. That's what we advocate here.
Certainly
Motto
is.
in Bladdo. That's moderation in bladderation. I see a bunch of lads.
Isn't it the other way round?
Eh?
Is it the other way round?
Bladderation in moderation, or
correct.
Moderation when you're in bladderation.
Indeed, yeah. Speaking of which, Mark says, the halcyon days on the green. I'm more a Radford Arms man myself. Does that ring any bells with you about Nottingham?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Radford Arms?
Yeah, Radford Arms, yeah, I remember that one. There was a place called Radford, that was a district of Nottingham, so that's where it would have been, obviously.
Okay.
Do you see the picture of the group of guys who are out in Berlin today?
Yes.
Not sure if they're on a stag or something.
But very early in the morning to kick off on the beers, wasn't it?
Very early in the morning, but they did absolutely emphasise that on this trip they would take our mantra, Bladdo in Modo.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Now, how about this from Kenny talking about James Corden? He says, I was never a George Michael fan, but when I saw him in the car with James Corden, his sense of humour, he was so good. R.I.P. George. That was when they did
That's
it
right.
for...
So I'll pick up your pictures
They
and
did
all
it
that.
for comic relief.
That's right, yeah.
Very, very funny.
Just pick up your pictures.
Indeed. Lots more. Here's one from Rob who says, the Arboretum was the best place on a summer's day. Does that ring any bells?
Well, the Arboretum, I've told you this before, that's where we used to do the outside surveying exercises on a Friday afternoon.
Okay.
And we used to pay
I'm sorry if I haven't been able to remember by name every single pub you used to go to when you were in your teenage years.
Sorry, and
my apologies.
And we used to pay a kid on the far side of the hill. We had a Scottish teacher, who was a typically sort of curmudgeonly Scottish guy who used to put on wetsuits all the time and go out and survey fields. Not wetsuits, wetproofs.
Oh, you mean waterproof?
Waterproofs. That's right. Yeah. And
you see a guy walking around the field wearing a wetsuit, I think you'd be a bit worried, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah.
You think he'd be one of those characters from that rather obscure court case going on at the moment that we can't mention.
But he put on his waterproofs and he'd go out into these godforsaken sites to survey, places where roads were being built and all that. So he was a part-time lecturer. So he'd take us out to
the Odolite.
Yeah, with the Odolite and these large poles with red and white stripes on them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we used to pay a kid over the other side of the hill, because it was quite a large place, Arboretum, to hold the red and white pole, which was about sort of 10 or 11 feet high, and just wave it around every now and then. because we were in the pub across the road.
Was that the Arboretum?
That was the Arboretum, that's absolutely right, And, we knew we had about 20 minutes until he made his way over there. And then when he got over there, we just gave him a set of bum figures because I don't know.
Made it up as you went along.
Yeah, exactly, I'm not
it's
sure.
not really surprised you didn't graduate after
really.
All that. Now, here's one from Nigel who says, I bet he didn't. No, he says the cricket payers. I presume he means the cricket players on Radford Road.
Yeah, well.
Is that another one you know?
I don't know. I went into a lot of pubs. We used to go to places and play football on playing fields where there was always a pub on the corner and that sort of stuff. We mostly used to go actually to Nottingham University's campus because I think it's one of the few in this country that red brick universities have a really big campus, and we used to go and play football there because they had like about 8 or 9 different halls, and the drink was subsidised, by somebody, by the education department. Yeah. It was incredibly cheap.
Yes,
and you could get like a double Southern Comfort for about the equivalent of about 12p in those days.
Your life has just been completely and utterly punctuated by drink, hasn't it?
Not really.
There's been nothing else that you've done.
No,
really,
not really.
In your entire life. Anyway, never mind that, because now it's time for this.
How long has this been going on? How long has this been going on? Well, you're friends with the fences.
Now, that music can only mean one thing. It's time for the 1 minute moan. Of course, it's currently 15-8 to me.
Yes.
So there's still chances for you to catch up.
Okay.
Would you like to go first this week, or would you like me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
You're going to let me go first again?
Yes.
You keep letting me go first, and I keep winning. You don't think you can change your tactics?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, you better start me off then.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
So stylishly done. My moan this week is about tax, right? Not because I don't like paying tax, not because I pay too much tax, not because I'm worried about what the electioneers are going to do when they get in, whichever one wins on Thursday. What this is about is a tax scheme to avoid paying tax, right? Now, we are lectured at an awful lot in this world by certain celebrities like Bob Geldof, occasionally David Beckham, certainly Gary Lineker, and a whole host of other people, Lord Hollick, who was a Labour peer, all sorts of people like Sacha Baron Cohen, Jeremy Paxman is in here, Kate Adie is in here, your good friend, Philip Schofield is in here, Simon Fuller, Jerry Halliwell, who was, of course, one of the great sort of ambassadors for the United Nations, trying to help the poor around the world. Or maybe she could have helped the poor around the world by giving some of her money to them, rather than trying to avoid paying tax on it, right? These people are an absolute disgrace. I don't mind if you want to lecture me about how I should live my life. I don't mind if you want to tell me what I should do with my money. And I don't even mind if you want to tell me what everybody else should do with their money. Jerry Barton's on this list as well, by the way. And I just think they all need to pay up and shut up.
Well, I have to say, don't you know about the words free enterprise and that kind of stuff, and how we pay too much tax in this country, and that's why people seek to pay less, because most politicians waste most of our money.
Well, I think you'll find that the HMRC would take a different view, because they've just ruled, and an appeal court has just ruled, that these people were wrong to put this money into this vehicle specifically to avoid paying tax. It was a film company that basically didn't exist, and now they're going to have to pay up.
Well,
I'm afraid they got it wrong.
Okay, well, I've got a better moan than that.
Have you? Okay, well, I will start you off with a 3, a 2, a 1 countdown.
Right, I am absolutely disgusted to read that the strength of the British Army could be allowed to drop to as low as 65,000. It is currently 78,410.
Okay.
That is way down on the 100,000 pledge that politicians a decade ago said we would stick at. We already have an absolutely battered and dishevelled Navy. Yeah. I was astonished when I saw 2 Royal Navy vehicles in Portsmouth Harbour last week from the balcony, ships from the balcony of my penthouse flat. The Army is going to go down to 65,000. That is 40,000 below Italy. Italy have not got a huge record of military endeavour as we have. It's nearly 50,000 lower than France. France is a very able and noble nation, but we should not have 50,000 less troops than France. And I tell you something, we're getting close to what Germany have got, and Germany weren't even allowed to have an army until about 25 years ago because of the machinations of the Second World War. Right. We need more soldiers. Do not cut the numbers in our army.
What do you need more soldiers for? We're not fighting anybody.
Well, we could do one day.
Oh, right, OK, just in case then.
Yeah.
Well, presumably if we fight somebody one day, we can have conscription and everybody
No,
can
we
go
can't.
into it.
No, we can't. You can't train soldiers overnight. It's ridiculous that the way that the defence budget in this country has been allowed to dwindle, cut, and at the same time, the welfare state grow.
Yeah.
It's not good.
What are you saying? Put people from the welfare state into the army?
Well, if you're necessary, yeah. But what I'm saying is rationalise the welfare.
We never get to the heart of it in the end.
Rationalise the welfare expenditure and let's have a solid defence policy.
All right. Do you know that you only got a minute for this 1 minute moan, don't you? You can't just keep going.
Well, you kept going after you'd explained yours to try and explain it more. Yes,
well,
you
no,
did.
because you started criticising me.
Yeah, no, at all.
Now, how about this from Aaron? He says, I think I've come across the perfect chair for Mike Parry.
Oh, yeah?
It's got his name written all over it.
Hey, great.
Have a look. It's called a plank chair.
A plank chair, yeah. Okay, you enjoy your pathetic little jokes, if you wish,
It's reduced from 115 quid down to £80.50.
Oh, is it really? Yeah.
It's called a clearance. That's not much of a clearance sale, is it?
No, it's not much of a clearance sale
If you want a clearance sale, put it down to 50 quid.
It's like these foods they have in supermarkets sometimes when you go round at sort of 5 o'clock on a Friday and they have this one horrible pit where they fit all the stuff in that's reduced, know.
Well, that's where you go and hang about, though.
No, don't.
You're always telling me you buy stuff from there.
No, sometimes I do. If they're
unbelievable. You spend an awful lot of money on an awful lot of things, but you go to the bargain basement aisle in the supermarket.
They have a yellow sticker on. But what always amuses me is that these raspberries that were £2, at 9 o'clock this morning, now clearance £1.79. Amazingly, people flock there and buy them.
Every little helps, as they say.
I know,
if you reduce it by that kind of money.
Yeah.
Now, David has very helpfully sent you. You can look at it later. He sent it to you. Rod Stewart's Carpool Karaoke.
Oh, brilliant!
From YouTube.
Oh, well done. Thank you very much indeed. That's very kind of you.
You'll be able to check that out because it is definitely very well worth looking at.
Yes, absolutely.
There's more people voting still. 1,603 people voting on the old whether you cheated in the Porky quiz or not.
I'm coming back, aren't I?
No, you're not. Still 69% believe that you cheated.
No, well, I didn't, you see, so they can believe what they like. I'm telling you, the truth is the truth. You can't handle the truth. The truth is that I did not cheat.
Paul Alderson says, 2 of the best 1 minute moans ever. Difficult to pick a winner, but I think MG just gets it.
No, he doesn't
I
just
can't
get
stand
it.
tax dodgers.
Yeah, well, I can't stand tax dodgers unless they're dodging for a valid reason.
Gossip says, Mr. MG all the way. Well done for another win.
Well, what about this one here?
Yeah.
Steve says, it's got to be Porky again. His quality of moans every week scares me. Unerringly accurate. He has his finger on the pulse. Man of the people.
Yeah, but he's one of these guys that's in the Porky tribe. He's always tweeting on your behalf.
Thank you.
Here's one from Pete. Pretty close in the 1 minute moan. Unless, of course, Porky's got to the producer. Well, producer Ross will be giving us the verdicts, obviously, very shortly.
Yes, exactly.
And we'll reveal it coming out very shortly as well.
Yes.
Now we're going to talk to a very important man who's about to embark. Well, has already embarked on yet another incredible feat of engineering, if you'll pardon the pun. He is, of course, Jeff Stelling. He's with Sky TV. He's back. He wants to stop prostate cancer being a killer, and he's walking 15 marathons in 15 days. Jeff, a very good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Mike.
Yeah, hello, Jeff. Great to hear from you. How are the feet feeling?
Actually, the feet feel okay, mate, at the moment. I mean, but then again, it's only the second day. I think we're 40 miles, I estimate, into the 400. So 40 miles down, 360 to go. I sort of feel like we've broken the back of it.
Oh, yeah, you have broken the back of it. Jeff, I am a victor of the Great North Run, which you'll know all about from up there.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, it's the last 3 miles that kill you. So I haven't got long to wait until that crucial moment.
Look, the last 3 miles will be an absolute joy. When I can see St. James's Park, that will feel like we've climbed Everest in that sense.
Yeah.
But there's a long way to go before then. Funnily enough, in this, Mike, the first few days are the toughest before your body really adapts to what you're doing. You've got your body, you're going to do 27 miles every day.
Yeah.
And initially, it won't take any notice of you, but it's got to in the end.
And you did this last year, of course, Jeff, and you're now, much to a lot of people's amazement, you're doing it again, only this time you're doing even more. Do you have to actually, and this is going to sound like a very stupid question, but have you got lots of different pairs of shoes, or do you have the same pairs of shoes that you just keep changing?
Yeah, a couple of pairs of shoes, Mike. When you feel like your feet are getting maybe just a bit sore in one particular part, change them for another pair. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to change 2 pairs. Wear one for the first 16 miles, and then the other for the next one. So, look, it's just a matter of putting one foot in front of each other for about 11 hours a day, I mean, it's worth it. We've got some great people walking with us, and a lot of football, football has joined it. We've got to Everton, Mike, obviously,
Excellent.
on one of the days of the walk. And Graham Sharp's going to walk part of the leg, and Graham Stewart and Ian Snowden are going to be there to meet us.
Fantastic.
And you'll be pleased that I've been talking to our press and PR guy, and he says Everton have been one of the most helpful clubs.
Well, we've got a great social programme at Everton, a great community programme. It's one of the most important issues that the chairman's always insisted on making sure there's proper funding for. But let's get to the realities of this, Jeff. What about the refreshment programme at the end of each day's walking?
Well, I sort of try and instill in the people who are guiding us here the fact that it is essential that we reach the finish in a decent time for me to get to the bar. Because obviously you have to really hydrate. And sometimes I don't think they quite understand that. We just walked past a sign. We're just outside Bristol, and we walked past a sign in the village of Cleve, which says Gin, Beer and Cider Festival.
Lovely.
They wouldn't let me stop.
No,
well, this is why you can't walk with Porky, because he'd never get anywhere. He'd be stopping every 5 minutes, I'm afraid. But will you be able to be wherever you're getting to tonight, Jeff, before the Champions League final? Because presumably you want to settle down and have a good look at that as well.
Yeah, that's why I've sort of emphasised that to them as well. The lunch stop's going to be really short. We've got it. We finish at Bristol Rovers tonight. We go Bristol City and Bristol Rovers. So by the time you've done some photos and a few interviews and had a bit of physio, got to jump in the car, because it's like the Tour de France. You don't start the next leg from the same place as you finish your leg. You've got to get in the car and go to the start of the next leg, which is in Swindon. So I'll be in Swindon. I've sort of got a feeling I might miss the first sort of 15 minutes or so, but I think it's going to go to extra time anyway. So.
I'm tipping Juventus for some reason. I don't know why. I've just got this feeling that they're going to do it somehow. I don't know what you think.
I think, Mike, a lot of the neutrals would like Juventus to do it. I mean, I really do. I know Real Madrid, Gareth Bale and all that lot, and the such like, but I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, would like Juventus to win it. And they're a crack inside, and if they score the first goal, I think it's going to be hard for Real Madrid to break them down. We've seen how good they are defensively, but they've got a threat going forward too. So I think it's going to be a fantastic final. We stayed in Weston-super-Mare last night, and an amazing number of fans staying in Weston because they can't get a hotel anywhere in Cardiff.
Right.
So there were fans of both sides staying in the hotel I was staying in last night. It's really good spirit amongst them, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Jeff, I take you'll be swerving around Hartlepool with you because it'll be too hard on the private and personal grief.
No, I'll be there. I'll be there, and they'll give me their full backing. I said to everybody around there, the thing is that two clubs get relegated every season, Mike. It's our turn.
Yeah.
We've avoided it, by the skin of our teeth in a lot of seasons. Didn't avoid it this time. But the great thing is now there's a chance to come back.
Well, of course.
We'll bounce straight back. But Bristol Rovers, we're going to today. They bounce straight back.
Yeah.
So that's what we've got to take encouragement from.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Now, Jeff, it's not too late for people to book a place on one or possibly more of the legs that you're doing. They just pay a $25 registration fee. How can they find anywhere to do that?
If they just go to marchformen.org, and that'll take them straight to the website. If they put anything in like Jeff Stelling's March for Men, it'll take them there. You know what it's like. Anybody who wants to join in, it would be more than welcome.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, listen, Jeff, have a fantastic
day. Well done,
day.
Jeff.
And,
fantastic job you're doing there, man.
Brilliant
Thanks,
achievement.
fellas.
Already raised 141,000. Target's £500,000. It's an amazing thing he's doing.
Yes, it is. Of course it is.
And I'm sure we'll be pledging some money to his campaign.
Of course, you wouldn't know anything about it because you've never walked distance, have you?
I used to play golf quite often, 36 holes a day. Now, you might know a little bit about golf, but you don't know very much about golf. When you play 36 holes... No, when you play 36 holes of golf a day...
Yeah. How many times did you do that?
I used to go on golfing holidays and do it for an entire week. I would. I used to go to Portugal, used to go to the United States, to go to Florida.
You've never walked distance, have you?
That's not true.
Well,
I've walked distance. When I was a kid, I used to go out with various people in the evenings, and I used to have to decide whether or not to get a cab home after dropping off my girlfriend, or whether I would get a kebab on the way home.
Oh, really?
Sometimes I would have to decide that I was hungry, so I would walk
and how far
5 miles home.
5 miles.
5 miles
5
home.
miles.
5 miles is a long way.
Rubbish.
What do you mean a load of rubbish? It would take me about an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, but I've actually walked a half marathon. I mean, that's something you will never achieve.
You've done.
Well, I'm just making...
Why would I want to walk a half marathon?
Well,
just
because...
to self-aggrandise myself and have my picture in the paper. Why would I do that?
Excuse me, I did it for the benefit of Harefield Hospital,
did you?
I raised over £13,000, okay?
Well, and how much did they waste saving your life?
No. Well, you've never given anything back to society.
I have.
That's what I'm saying.
I do it constantly.
For all the smoking you've done over the years.
I'll tell you what I've given back to society.
That'll lead to an early death. You're going to cost the NHS a lot of money soon.
The NHS. Mike Tyson, suddenly we're working with.
Yeah.
Well, if I die, I'm not going to cost them anything, am I?
Well, you are, because there's the wrap-up charges,
I mean, you've cost the NHS more than about 56 people collectively.
You'll probably die over a period of about 3 months.
Charming.
Lying in a bed, coughing and wheezing.
Charming. Well,
you've
taken 30 years to die slowly, considering that you're inches from death. You're still alive.
I don't think so.
Talk Sport, we are the two mics. Coming up tonight, of course, it is the Champions League final down in Cardiff. It's going to be terribly exciting. Juventus taking on Real Madrid. It's live right here on Talk Sport. Now, this song, of course, will be reminiscent of something that you might have liked in the past.
Was that Christa Berg?
No, it's UB40.
Oh, UB40, okay. Yeah. Didn't Christa Berg sing? Oh, was that the one Lady in Red?
That was Lady in Red. That was something to do with red wine.
Okay, red wine, that's good.
It's red
now,
wine.
Listen, I'll tell you what I'm playing now. Now, I tweeted out a picture of this earlier. I was so astonished at this fashion development, fashion accessory. But, you see smart young ladies walking around all the time with increasingly... smart bags and quite large ones. The trend for large ladies' handbags is
very, very trendy. And in fact, not just ladies, but I mean, there's schoolgirls where I live.
Oh, okay.
When you see them walking to school, I take my son to school, and they're all carrying these massive handbags.
Really?
From the age of about 13 or 14.
Is that right? Yeah.
I'm actually just looking for your picture so I can retweet it out.
Okay. Well, I put it out on a tweet, on my handle or whatever it's called.
Yeah. On Mike Parry 8. Yes, I'm just sending it out now.
Okay, let's find it out. Now, the point of the story is this, right? That this looks, to all intents and purposes, like another very fashionable bag.
Yes.
And you wear it from the shoulder. And it's important for me to tell you why you wear it from the shoulder.
Right.
Because within this bag is a secret compartment covered. It's a silk compartment with a zip.
Yes.
But when you unzip it, there is inside a pouch, and it's very much a waterproof pouch.
It's an amazing picture.
Yeah, it's a waterproof pouch.
Yeah.
And what you put in it is alcohol.
Yes.
And believe it or not, it has a capacity for 1.5 litres of wine.
That's rather a large amount of wine.
I'm just thinking to you.
I mean, that's effectively two. That's 2 bottles.
It's 2 bottles. It's
75 centilitres, right?
It's 2 bottles. It's 2 bottles. You pick up a plastic litre bottle of water, and you could do weight training with it. It's that heavy, right? Now you do that, and with another half of that, and you're absolutely right. You've got 2 bottles. Now
in the picture as well that you've put out, which is from one of the papers today.
Yes.
It also shows the woman carrying the bag.
That's right.
Decanting some wine from this secret compartment into the glass. Now, what it doesn't say is where do you put the glass? Is that in the bag as well?
It says you can if you want, but you have to acquire a glass. Now, that's not difficult. You can walk into most any shop in the country now and say, can you give us a plastic cup, please? And
you can have a plastic cup, but this is a proper wine glass.
Yeah, it's a proper wine glass.
I mean, you wouldn't want to carry that in a bag, would you?
Well, I don't know. You might want to. It depends where you're going. If you take the Epsom Derby today and all the ladies will be out on the downs and all that, this would be a perfect accessory. If they each went out with
Can you imagine how drunk they would get?
I was about to say, if they each went out with 2 bottles of wine in their handbag, and the decanting is brilliant, by the way, because we should explain that, a designer handbag often has a label of the manufacturer, like a silver disc.
That's right,
And, the silver disc, you lift up the flap and it's got a button.
Yeah.
And you hold your glass there, press the button, and it decants the wine.
It's a bit like a wine box with a handle, isn't it? It's carrying around.
It's a designer wine box. Yeah. It's not a box. It's not made of cardboard. It's made of leather or faux leather or something like that.
Does it say how much it costs?
Well, it says it's £60.
Right.
The Portofino wine purse comes with a concealed insulated pouch that contains 1.5 litres of red or white, the equivalent of 2 bottles. The wine is dispensed from a tap, concealed behind a fashionable flap on the outside of the bag, indicating the manufacturer.
Can you imagine, by the way, in places like France and Italy, and even Spain, where wine is drunk, but people don't seem to get actually, inebriated. This could only be sold in Britain, couldn't it? Because it's only in this country that people get so drunk. I mean, you were saying last night they were staggering around after the Epsom Oaks meeting and all that.
Very attractive
and you said in your tweet, any lady with that sort of handbag would be my sort of girl.
Well, I said that on a tweet, but I mean, I'm having a bit of a laugh there, obviously. But nevertheless, if you did meet a girl and said she were going to have a picnic on Hampstead Hill or something, you know.
I think I'd be a bit worried if she was carrying around a litre and a half of wine.
And if she said, you just bring the sandwiches, I've got the wine. And then you say, well, where is the wine? And in my handbag. What do you mean it's in your handbag? You bought 2 bottles of wine. No, I have a wine pouch in my handbag.
Yeah, no, see, I think that would make me slightly uneasy.
It wouldn't make me uneasy.
Because you think you were getting together with a massive dipso.
Well, it says here...
Which never ends well, by the way.
No, it's manufactured by... It's the brainchild of Marisa China and Gunnar Hammerbeck, who are the co-owners of the American company Bella Vita, which means good handbag, doesn't it?
What?
Bella Vita?
Bella Vita, I don't know.
Well, Bella is beautiful.
Bella is beautiful,
Vita is
I thought Vita was life, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, good life. No, La Dolce Vita. Yes, it could be.
I think
the
Vita
good life.
Is life, yeah.
So it's good life, okay? Which designed accessories and gift packaging for the wine and gourmet food industry.
Yeah.
Miss China said, I envisioned a fashion purse that could be taken anywhere that needed to look beautiful, both inside and outside, and have the added bonus of carrying 2 bottles of wine.
I just think I could see 1 bottle, but why 2?
So it says here, it says for this very reason. This is a social accessory to be shared with friends, so 1 bottle wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And boxed wine would be too large, heavy and ugly. People simply pour their alcohol into a spout at the top of the bag.
Yeah.
The pouch itself is hidden by a zippered seam.
I'll tell you what it'd be great for, actually, would be going on a plane. Because you know how nowadays, I mean, you probably don't know this because you're always going first class or business, but if you travel, basically steerage,
that's right.
It's very hard to get a drink on a plane.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So I think maybe you should invest in, when we go to New York, we should invest in one of these bags.
Definitely, yeah.
Give it to my daughter to carry.
It's absolutely.
And then we could just continually drink.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It says the Portofino, which is the name of this bag, is available in red, black and blue, so I'd have a blue one, obviously.
Yeah.
And
you can be black and blue later.
Yeah, exactly. And is accented with a gold bow and trim. It is available online, and the company is working on trying to bring it to Europe. Yeah. So I think it's absolutely fabulous. I love that.
But I can see problems with this, though, because you know how we have a problem with, anyway in this country with the amount of bladderation that goes on, the amount of drinking that people do. Yeah. You can see these things being confiscated from people.
Well, what you can see is there are certain areas where alcohol is banned.
Yeah.
Now, in America, for instance, a young lady of my persuasion used to go to the beach every weekend, but I didn't because it was too hot.
They've got these open container rules there, haven't they?
Well, the point is, I was always, very impressed that she took 2-litre bottles of water to the beach every time she went.
Right.
In fact, there were 2-litre bottles of vodka. But no, you can see some people sitting... I mean, for instance... You could see, a young lady, carrying this around. Everybody say, she comes from very good stock. Yeah. But then she's sitting at a table in the cathedral grounds in Chester or something like that. And all of a sudden, her and her friend are suddenly starting to take on the air of somebody who's in subliminal mood,
And I think the trouble is, because it's such a large amount of wine, it's all very well to say, it's supposed to be for social account. I mean, what are you going to bring, like 4 glasses with you?
Exactly,
also in the bag? Yeah. Because I think anybody who's got that much wine is, I'm afraid, going to end up in a bad place.
Well, I can't say I disagree. But nevertheless, I love the idea of it. And as I say, you go for a picnic or something like that, it's a perfect accessory, isn't it?
It certainly has possibilities, doesn't it? Yeah. Scott says this, Porky talks to you like he's some kind of fitness Adonis.
Yes.
Has he ever looked in the mirror?
Well, I'm telling you, I've done more fitness work in my life than most people I know.
Yeah, I know. I tell you, it was a waste of time, though, wasn't it?
I had to keep myself alive. Don't you realise?
Complete waste of time.
Don't you realise? Acute heart failure, 36 hours to death.
Yeah. Jim says rather unkindly, after your tweet about the your kind of lady, any lady with a pulse is your sort of girl, Porky.
That's very nice, isn't it?
Talk football again. Steve Morrison is a former Wales international, of course, man who now still keeps his hand in there playing for Millwall. Managed to score the winning goal at Wembley, which took them up into the Championship.
Right.
Steve, very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are we all?
Very well
Very
indeed.
well indeed,
Very
Steve.
well
Thanks
indeed.
for joining us.
Spotlight is on Cardiff. I'm seeing pictures on Twitter already of the town looking like it's filling up with lots and lots of fans from Real Madrid and Juventus, of course, as well. I don't know whether you're down there, Steve, but it's a great day and a great evening to be in the Principality.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not there myself, but it will be one heck of an occasion, won't it? It's a fantastic stadium. I was lucky enough to play there against England in a packed house, and when that Champions League song comes on and everyone starts walking out, it's going to be one heck of a atmosphere.
It certainly is. You say it's a fantastic stadium and all that, Steve. What sort of atmosphere will it conjure up for the two neutral teams? Because obviously Wales aren't playing there, but it does. I've been there to cup finals when Wembley was closed down, and it really does generate the buzz, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's loud. It's loud. It's very, very loud. I remember playing there when I played for Wales against England. It was really, really loud. And then we went and played at Wembley for England and for Wales against England, and it was a lot louder at the Principality. I think it's designed that way. Yeah, it's definitely it's not as big, is it? So it kind of like holds the noise inside a bit more.
That's right. That's right.
But Wembley is good. If you get two teams going loud, Wembley's great. But Principality, when it's flamed out, is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, your Welsh teammate, Gareth Bale, one of the great things he said, isn't it great that the final's at Cardiff, because I haven't got to arrange any flights for my mum and dad and my relatives who want to come now. They can walk to the ground. I mean, that is quite something, isn't it? This is a classic, golden boy goes away to make his career and suddenly returns as the local hero. It's a really, really dramatic and classical story, isn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't write it, could you? At the end of the day, he's gone away. He's been so successful. He's a fantastic player. He's going back home. And if someone could say to him 3 or 4 years ago when he went to Real Madrid that he'd be playing the Champions League final in Cardiff, I think he'd snapped your hand off, and that's exactly what he's going to do tonight.
That's right. Have you always been impressed, Steve, about his commitment to Wales and the national team whilst he's been emerging as a world superstar?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, people get a lot of bad press in football, and they say they don't care about their country enough. But he's one player who definitely does care, and he's there every camp I was involved in. He was always there. He always turned up. He dragged us along, and he's still dragging the team along now.
He certainly inspired them
to the team.
He certainly inspired them at the Euros, didn't he? I mean, that was a fantastic moment for everyone involved, and Chris Coleman, I suppose, in particular. Do you get the sense that he's going to stay at Real Madrid, Steve? Because a lot of people saying maybe this is an opportunity for him to come back and play in the Premier League, maybe for Manchester United.
Yeah.
I think it's a difficult one. I think at the end of the day, he went there to win trophies. He's gone there. He's won trophies. He's won the league. He's won the Champions League. I suppose the question he has to ask himself is, does he want to stay at Real Madrid and continue to win those trophies, or does he want to come back to Britain and try and win the Premier League? Because obviously you look at someone like Ronaldo, he's done both. And to be classed as the best, you have to win the most stuff. You have to be the best, and adding another piece of silverware in a different country to his mantle would be massive on his CV.
You're absolutely right. Now, Steve, of course, you are a professional footballer of the highest standing, so you won't know anything about post-match celebrations in Cardiff, but it is a bit of a party town. And
Gareth's got his own pub, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Gareth's got his own pub there, and those people travelling from Italy and Spain tonight are going to have a raucous weekend, aren't they?
They're going to have a very, very good time. It's a great city, and it's got lots going on. And yeah, they'll be having a very good time now, and I'm sure win or lose, they'll be having a very good evening as well.
Yeah, it's a great thing for Cardiff, isn't it? Cardiff was pepped up when they had the FA Cup final there for, I think, 6 continuous years, and then they thought, is it all going to fall away now? But it hasn't, has it? And it is a great tribute to the city, isn't it?
Oh, it's massive. It's great to have that there, and what a massive event for that city to be holding. And I think it's going to be a great. I think it's going to be a great event tonight.
Yeah,
and what a
the
great
eyes of the world on it.
Yes, indeed. And I know you won't want me to point this out, Paul, because you're not a massive Millwall fan. Whereas, of course, I am, because I live in the neighbourhood of Millwall.
Yeah.
And Steve, very happy to see you guys back up in the Championship. It's going to be quite a year for you.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's where we all want to be, and we're under no illusions how tough the task is going to be, because that league just seems to be getting better and better and better every year. But you definitely want to be a part of it, and we've got bags to look forward to, and we go back to pre-season in, I think it's about 24 days, something like that. And, can't wait for it.
That's right.
And what do you think about the score tonight? You want to give us a little prediction?
I think it's going to go to extra time and then Real Madrid win.
Wow. Yeah, very close then.
I think it's going to be. I can't see Juventus giving up much ground, and obviously an early goal would be great for everyone. But I think it's going to be very, very tight. But I think Real Madrid and that man Ronaldo, or is it written in the stars for Gareth Bale to come off the bench tonight and score the winner?
Well, absolutely, that would be
amazing,
fantastic,
wouldn't it? Steve, listen, enjoy the game.
Thanks,
I'm sure
Steve.
you will. A lot of people thinking it's going to go to extra time this game, so you might be in for a long night.
But you see, that's a fence-sitting situation, isn't it? Sit on the fence,
not really.
go extra time.
No, you see, say that, but it's like when you say that if I predict a draw in a game, it's fence-sitting. It's not. It's just predicting a different result.
The two most common scores in the final of the Champions League are 2-1 and 1-1.
Yes,
and 1-1 sometimes leading to 2-1, obviously, because of it's a 90-minute score, But I think Real Madrid will be quite decisive tonight.
You think in 90 minutes?
I think 2-0 over 90 minutes.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it goes to extra time as well, 1-1. And it goes then to extra time, and Juventus get the second goal.
I don't think so, because I think Ronaldo is so outstanding. He's a game changer, Ronaldo.
Well, he can be.
Well, he is always.
But he's not always on the winning side, is he?
He is usually. He is usually.
He has been more times than not.
Yes.
But don't forget, it's a massive thing to win the Champions League back-to-back. Nobody's ever done it.
And I'm not underestimating how difficult it is to beat Juventus,
no.
the only unbeaten team in the Champions League this year.
Who managed to keep a clean sheet twice.
That's right.
Against Barcelona.
That's right.
That can't be underestimated.
That is an outstanding statistic. Yes. I still think Ronaldo will weave his magic web.
Yes. All right. As if by magic, by the way, Rupert Bell, who's going to be on that show, is now going to talk to us about the racing down at Epsom, because it's a lovely day for it.
Yep.
Rupert, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mikes.
Now,
Rupert, sorry, before we say anything else, Rupert, I got the winner in the Oaks yesterday. You know that, do you?
I think we know that,
There's nothing like a smug punter.
6.5 to 1, how about that? 50 quid?
Stop being smug.
He claims, of course, Rupert, that he's going to give it to charity. There's so far no evidence of that.
Well, there's charities and charities,
So you're giving it to the local pub, are you?
No. You see, this is despicable. To pull my character apart, it is going to a charity called Main Chance, which looks after disadvantaged horses down in Guildford in Surrey. And it's run by Jenny Seagrove, my very good friend, the actress.
Okay, well, I applaud and thank you very much, Mike. But I'm sure you will be down the pub anyway, giving them some of your money anyway.
I will. The horse sanctuary is a place for sort of run-down, desperately unlucky and in horrible shape horses who've had a miserable life, very much like Mr. Parry himself.
Oh, that's very nice.
And any charity like that needs all support, because they sometimes get underfunded. So, Mike, for once, I applaud your sentiment and fair play to put your 50 quid times 6.5. That's 300 quid. They'll appreciate that. That's plenty of hay to feed the horses.
That certainly will. Now, how's it all looking down there, Rupert? Because the weather seems set fair.
Oh, well, it's lovely. I'm talking to you from the top of the Queen stand. The Queen actually is directly under me, about 3 floors, because I'm directly above the Royal Box. Yeah. So she's probably tucking into a very nice luncheon at the moment, having arrived at 1 o'clock in mustard yellow. Yeah. And she will be, we're hoping to see a great race. It's not going to be the rank outsider. Dioralia is not in the race, found to be lame this morning. And I think there was a sort of collective sigh of relief that she wasn't running in the race. Whatever your view, the owner, I think, had made it more of a story about himself rather than the horse. But there is plenty of people filing onto the downs. They now call it the Poundland Hill.
That's right, yeah.
So, but
not exactly Ascot, is it?
Yeah, it hasn't got a great ring to it, that, has it?
Well, but it's busy, and that's the main thing, and it's free to get onto. So that is what the unique aspect of the Downs. You can get on there, but there's fun fairs, there's all sorts of things that you can fling yourself up in the air on looking out over the grandstand, or you can come and be in the Queen's stand in your top hat and tails, enjoying a more formal side of it. Indeed. So that is the beauty of the Derby. And the Tattenham corner is lined with people and buses. and there's a nice, pleasant buzz. But I have noticed more policemen than ever before, but that's not entirely surprising.
No, it's not entirely surprising. And come 5 or 5:30, as I live in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey Route, the young ladies who've been enjoying themselves all day will be tottering away and looking for further refreshment in the evening. I can assure you of that.
Well,
now, it'll
why
be
do you
fun.
Why do you think they're going to be looking at you? It hasn't happened before.
No, he claimed that it happened. He claimed that it
harsh.
happened. He claimed that he was the subject of some kind of what was it? What was the suggestion that was
Well,
made to you?
I was on a railway station in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey last night, and there were a group of ladies there. They found me very interesting. But, you know, I had other things I had to do. I don't take advantage of young ladies
They
who
were
are
obviously well over the limit.
inebriated. What about the big race, please? What about the big race contenders?
Well, it's really open. Aidan O'Brien's got 6 runners. That probably suggests, and the way he's been talking, that he doesn't know which is his best. Ryan Moore is on Cliffs of Moher, which is named after a fabulous bit of the west coast of Ireland, which called the Cliffs of Moher, which are a spectacular thing to see. But I don't think this horse may be as spectacular as what nature created in terms of the rock faces on the west coast of Ireland. But and I think Cracksman's going to go off favourite, but I fancy Eminent. And if you fancy a little each way, and TalkSport listeners will be running scared of this, I've mentioned Eminent, and I'm also mentioning Crowned Eagle at a big price, trained by John Gosden. Could be interesting. But it's so open, and I wouldn't be surprised if any of the 18 ran big races.
I think Frankie is on a roll. You know, I bet him. I bet on him yesterday. I think he's got a great chance today. He's the sort of guy who lights up a race course like Epsom. He'd be a very popular winner, wouldn't he?
He would be hugely popular, and actually racing needs the personalities who move outside our bubble in the sport. Because racing does struggle to attract sort of headlines outside the big occasions. It's a great social place to go, and people enjoy it for a day out. But in terms of the sporting stories grabbing the greater public, there isn't. Frankie Dettori is capable of doing that. He's on the horse in the same ownership as he won 2 years ago, Golden Horn. And this horse has won at Epsom before, won the Derby trial earlier this year. And so that suggests he shouldn't have a problem with the going and the conditions here, because as you know, when you go for your early morning stroll round Surrey, Stockbroker Belt, Mike, you know that this is a very unique racecourse that defies logic in a modern term.
I totally agree. One of the worries, Roop, about the horse that has now fortunately been exited from the race was, could it handle the camber as it came round the corner onto the straight?
Well, I think you're going to say that it's going to be a rough race with all 18 in it. Forget the fact whether this horse was a no-hoper. What you're going to have pacemakers, and when they come round Tattenham Corner, horses start to tire. And when you're going back, and then you've got horses who are full of running, so you've got slow ones going past, and that's when problems can happen. So the jockeys in this race will need to have their wits about them as they're negotiating Tattenham Corner, which is very difficult at the best of times. And with 18 runners running for the Derby, a prize fund, a pool in the race of 1.625 million, and that the horse who wins it, is then worth squillions after it for life at stud, unlike you, Mike.
Well, that's very harsh, that.
That is very harsh.
That's what they call in American football unnecessary roughness.
Completely unnecessary.
But isn't it true?
It is,
I'm not commenting.
Defence of truth is always okay.
Okay, very good, thank you. Unlike a lot of things in America. But anyway, at the moment, where was I? But its worth will be worth squillions. So that is why there's a lot at stake. And that's why I think it is right. You need to have experience. It's not just any other flat race. This is the flat race that defines a horse and will always be remembered, because if you train a Derby winner, it is the ultimate accolade, and
as your brother knows, of course.
As my brother does know, and it has defined his career. And when he won in 2005, it's an amazing achievement for him to have done that. And it's what they all strive to do. But unfortunately, it's very hard to do, and that's why someone like Martin Mead, 69-year-old successful businessman, been involved in from the city, but also been training for some time and breeding horses. It would be an interesting story for him to achieve that. And Jim Crowley, former jump jockey, now champion jockey, was involved in that horrible pile-up at Kempton last year that left Freddie Teslicki paralysed. That would be a really good story if that one was to come through. And hopefully, from a personal point of view and my pocket, I hope that is the case. But, there are some good stories, though, lurking around.
And you're bringing us the live commentary later on, Rupert.
Yeah,
right?
we are bringing 4 races, including the fastest race on the British calendar, what they call the Dash. Straight downhill, 5 furlongs, down the hill, and it is it fills me with absolute trepidation because there are 19 runners just absolutely going lickety-split for the whole way down the hill at Epsom. So we've got 4 races live, but obviously the big one will be at 4:30. Lee Mackenzie alongside me here at Epsom, and we can't wait for the big one.
Tremendous. I want to see a picture of you on your top hat on Twitter as well, because I haven't seen one on your Twitter account yet.
Well, I've got my morning suit on, but so I can do that if you want, Mike.
Yes, put it out and we can retweet it. Because we can further spread your legendary status.
Yeah, and I can mock you in retaliation for the harsh words you've just delivered.
Have you ever worn a top hat and tails, Mike? I imagine you you wear it, you've got your shirt out and you've got the waistcoat not done up properly and the hat's tipped to the...
Shocking,
honestly, how you can betray me in these tawdry terms.
I wore tails when I got married.
For all the things I've done for you during your life.
But he never got married either.
No, I'm very grateful for what little you've done for me. No.
It's getting a bit harsh.
It's very personal attack.
It is. I don't know where it's coming from.
Rupert, thank you very much.
Thanks,
indeed. Rupert Bell, if you see a man in top hat and tails 4 floors above the Queen, you'll know who it is, and hopefully we'll retweet his picture
I
very
was
shortly.
where Rupert is now, but I think I was actually on the roof because we had we were broadcasting from there, and a bloke came up and I said, "Excuse me," I said, "This is a private area where I talk to." He said, "No, it's all right. I'm allowed to be here." I said, "Oh, why is that?" I said, "What you got in that box there?" He said, "A high-powered rifle. I'm from the Queen's personal guard."
Excellent.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with him.
Yeah.
This is TalkSport. We are the 2 mics. A couple of quick tweets for you. No, says Dave. Did Porky just say Real Madrid will win comfortably?
Yes.
I've got money on them.
Right.
Hashtag Porky jinx.
Good.
Well, it's going to be a very close game. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I won't be jinxing anything. Do you worry about that?
We shall see. Now, let's go back to Lisa O'Sullivan, who's watching Andy Murray.
Yep.
He's doing quite well in the second set, I think. Lisa, what's going on?
Yeah, it's looking good. He had that early break against Juan Martin Del Potro and leads 4-3, just the 1 break of serve in the match. The doctor and the trainer has been on, though, for Del Potro, and no treatment given, but he has given him some kind of medication, probably anti-inflammatories, because it has been hard fought these first set and a bit of this match. Over on court number 2, Kyle Edmund is 2 sets all with Kevin Anderson. Both of these boys born in Johannesburg. Of course, Edmund moving to the UK when he's 3 years old, his parents moving back here to Beverley in Yorkshire, and it is on serve in this 5th set, 2 games all. I think this one could go a long way into the afternoon because there is very little to split the 2 up.
Lisa, thank you very much indeed. You'll be hearing updates all the way through the afternoon, of course, with Nat Coombs as well. Now, how about this from Wilson, who says, "Hi, guys, can you give my sister Jennifer a birthday shout-out in a French accent?"
All right.
I don't know why he wants it in a French accent.
Okay, does it say how old she is?
It doesn't, no.
Right, and her name is?
Her name is Jennifer, and she is Wilson's sister.
Okay, Jennifer, sister, sir of Wilson. I want to wish you a very, very happy birthday.
Why like German?
Ma chérie. Ma chérie, ma petit chou, vous avez a wonderful and happy birthday.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed.
Bonne chance.
Yeah, that's all right. That's
Bonne
enough.
chance, Porky.
Stephen says, "How dare Rupert Bell insult one of the heroes of British broadcasting? Very harsh."
Exactly.
Hashtag Porky is a legend.
You know, I don't mind you steering people down the road that, Porky belongs in a knacker's yard like those horses at Main Chance, which are not in a knacker's yard, by the way.
Oh, really?
And then I expect Roop to leap to my defence. What does he do? No, he puts a boot in on
Yeah,
me.
he certainly did. Well, we'll see when he puts his picture out of him in a top hat,
Yes.
what he looks like. And then Julia, who's one of your biggest fans, says, of course the ladies will be throwing themselves at Porky.
Well, exactly.
They're only human.
Well, exactly. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Listen, talking about being only human, don't you get wound up sometimes when you get into ridiculous conversations with people in so-called, official meetings, and they start using all that garbage language, like there is no I in team.
Oh, yes.
People.
Yes.
There's no I in team.
I know. I mean, well, the trouble is there's two kinds of people in the world, aren't there? There's people who go for all that sort of jargon and people who are just interested in speaking plainly.
Yeah.
And one of the things that journalists used to be really good at was speaking plainly.
That's right.
But sometime, I would say, around about the mid-90s to late 90s, these kind of management consultants started appearing all over the place. Blue sky thinking.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I had one guy at the Mirror who used to really irritate me, who worked at the marketing department. Whenever we came up with any kind of idea and wanted some money for it, his first reaction would be, will it wash its own face?
Will it wash its own face?
And the first time I heard it, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
He's like, I mean to say, will it make money?
Yeah.
And it was just ridiculous.
Well, somebody has, some website has fortunately put together the 50 worst and most annoying expressions that we have to encounter in the workplace, okay?
Yeah.
And he comes up with some fantastic ones, like I've just told you, there's no I in team. Let's go forward and sing from the same hymn sheet. It's a very old one, isn't it?
That is an old one,
But some of the new ones were thinking outside the box, the win-win factor.
Right.
And one of these that I haven't heard, the results must be driven by the low-hanging fruit.
The low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit.
Which I guess is the easiest stuff to get, right? Is that what it means?
Oh, I see what you mean. You mean like seize the opportunity of the low-hanging fruit.
Funnily enough, and I don't know why it's made me think of this, but another one of my father's phrases he used to say to my sister,
yes,
you don't want to be one of the watermelons at the side of the road.
The watermelons at the side of the road.
Meaning that, when you drove around in Europe, people would sell watermelons at the side of the road.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
His argument was he should be one of the watermelons up in the tree.
Really?
He was referring to her availability to young men.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
But of course, one of our heroes of this season's football season broadcasting, Bob had a few expressions of his own, didn't he?
Bob, pushing the envelope.
Got to push that envelope. Got to stop my own momentum.
Is that in there, by the way?
No, it's not pushing the envelope. Well, it will be in the full list.
Yeah.
I haven't got the full list here.
The other one, which actually goes back quite a long way, because the first time I remember seeing it was in that movie A Few Good Men, which is quite an old movie from the sort of early 60s, where the advertising guy in that talks about, I'm just going to run this one up the flagpole and see if anyone salutes
that's right,
it.
Yeah, running up the flagpole, I know.
But I can't stand that kind of stuff.
I can't
if
either.
I'm in a room now with anyone who starts talking like that, I immediately leave.
Blank them, exactly.
It's absolute cobledos.
Yes, good thinking.
Anyway, that was another warm-up show taken care of. We'll be back, of course, at 10 o'clock on Monday morning.
We certainly will.
We've got an interesting week this week because we've got the election special on Thursday night.
We certainly have.
We're also in on Friday as well.
At 10 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, we're all over the place. You won't be able to get enough of it this week.
Breakfast at the Savoy Friday morning after we've done the overnight show. We're not recording that, and then we're back here for 10 to do the daytime show.
Don't start confusing everyone again, because you got so confused yourself. You put out a tweet this morning saying you were here for 10 o'clock. 10
o'clock,
When in fact the show started at 11.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The warm-up with the two mics on Talk Sport.
Have you seen the time?
You worry too much about the time. That's your problem.
Yeah.
You're a clock watcher, you are. I've met people like you before.
Have you?
You're all rubbish.
You don't remember any of them, though.